In the summer of 1979, tens of thousands of Cambodian refugees fled their homeland. They weren't escaping a war. They were escaping something far worse. A nightmare regime. A genocide. A silence that the world would not break. But what awaited them wasn't rescue. It was a towering cliff and a choice no one should ever face. This is the story of the Cliff of No Return, a tragedy buried in the jungle and in history.
By 1979, Cambodia was a nation in ruins. After 4 years under the Khmer Rouge, nearly 2 million people were dead. Mass executions, forced labor, starvation. The regime collapsed when Vietnam invaded, but liberation came with new horrors. Fearing reprisals, starvation, or another round of war, Cambodians ran. By the tens of thousands, they poured toward Thailand's borders. Old men, children, mothers carrying babies. Most had walked for weeks, barefoot, wearing rags, carrying nothing. Thailand saw a flood of human suffering it hadn't prepared for and didn't want. Thailand had been wary of the Khmer Rouge, but also feared Vietnamese influence creeping through the region. Caught between Cold War politics and humanitarian disaster, the Thai government faced pressure from its people, from the U.S., from ASEAN. Publicly, they welcomed the refugees. Privately, they saw them as a liability. So in June 1979, Thailand made a chilling decision: send them back, but quietly, forcefully, without world attention. A military repatriation. No papers, no oversight, and no safety.
Refugees were told they'd be moved to safer camps. They climbed into Thai military trucks, hopeful, exhausted. But these weren't humanitarian convoys. No food, no water, no rest stops. The trucks drove for hours, north, into the mountains, to a place no refugee knew, Preah Vihear, a remote escarpment on the Thai-Cambodian border, home to ancient temples and deadly terrain. Behind them, Thai soldiers with guns. Ahead, a steep cliff face. Below, a minefield. At the cliff's edge, the soldiers gave their orders. Get down. Return to Cambodia. There were no ropes, no stairs, no trail. Just brush, rocks, and vertical drops. When some refused, soldiers fired shots into the air. Some shouted, beat people with rifle butts. Panicked, families began to descend. Mothers carried babies in one hand, clutching vines with the other. Children slid on loose gravel. And then the screams. People fell, tumbled, exploded on hidden mines. A single misstep could cost dozens their lives. There was no mercy, no turning back. Some hid in the jungle below, wounded and afraid. Others carried the injured for days, navigating deadly paths without maps. One aid worker later wrote, "It was not repatriation, it was forced death by terrain." Eyewitness accounts estimate 40,000 to 45,000 people were pushed over the cliffs. Thousands died instantly. Many more died over the next days from starvation, wounds, and mines.
News trickled out through whispers. A few journalists, a handful of NGO workers. but the world was focused elsewhere. In the West, Iran, the Soviet Union, the Cold War. Cambodian suffering, even genocide, was background noise to geopolitics. Thailand's military faced no international probe, no sanctions, no condemnation. And because the Khmer Rouge was still seen by the US and China as a counterbalance to Vietnam, even the victims found no heroes.
Today, very few know this story. There is no monument on the cliffs of Preah Vihear, no government apology, no memorial day. It's not in textbooks, not in museums, not in the stories passed down, because too many never made it back to tell them. Those who did survive carry the silence inside them, a silence deeper than the jungle.
Stand at the top of Preah Vihear, and you'll see only beauty. A vast view, whispering trees, a quiet sky. But if you listen closely, the silence speaks. Of mothers torn from their children, of babies buried in the jungle, of a place where survival became a miracle. This was the cliff of no return, not just a tragedy, but a warning of what happens when the world looks away. In June 1979, an unspeakable tragedy unfolded in silence. Tens of thousands of Cambodians died not from war, but from abandonment. They died at the edge of a cliff, pushed not by enemies, but by indifference. To the survivors, to those who never made it, we remember you. May history never forget the cliff of no return.